You're about to enter into Monica's universe, where her inquiry may align you to new dimensions. You're about to cross a threshold into the unknown. Surrender to the experience. That echo is the sound of everything collapsing in your mind. Astrology, Bitcoin, and ongoing study. I know the title sounds very dark, but actually, when things collapse, other things emerge. So I'm more focused on the emergence part rather than collapsing. Yet it is here. The famous, ultra famous season of eclipses in the conjunction of a lifetime cycle. Today, I will not speak that much. It is a small reflection, a very tiny one. What do you want to be? How do you want to contribute? What is it that you observe that you can be completely different in your landscape? How do you want to be authentic? So many questions, yet I need space to live through this. And here it is, Friday the 13th. Saturn is leaving Pisces for good since March 2023. The planet of maturation, time, support, direction, and definition, leaving the end of the zodiac, showing us that if we are not responsible for whatever we want to create, and that information is not wired to the divine, it will be chaotic, drowning in victimization. From an evolutionary perspective, Saturn leaving Pisces marks the completion of a karmic reckoning that has asked the collective for emotional maturity, also confronted spiritual accountability. At the same time, it shows as a dissolution of old collective illusions that have shaped our unconscious patterns since 2023. This shift calls the ignition of a new archetypal impulse within the collective soul, where individual will begins to separate from the collective blob and confusion, and where each person is asked to take responsibility for the vision they carry forward into manifestation. Thank you, Saturn. It is the dawn of a new era. I believe it has been thousands of years since it touched the same place with the same planet in the same degree. We do have this cycle every 36 years. So there are things about closing in terms of our institutions and constructions that are social. Last time, 1989 in Capricorn, Saturn was ruling the institutions or walls while Neptune dissolved them, and we saw the collapse of the Cold War. This time, Neptune and Aries dissolves and reveals what is real, and Saturn builds, sustains, and at the rate it defines. But it is interesting because it is at 0 degrees of Aries, and Aries is all about individuality. So the question is really very personal. 0 degrees of Aries represents the raw impulse of the soul choosing a new direction, the moment of initiation where desire becomes conscious and the path forward depends on the courage to embody one's own authentic evolutionary necessity. Beyond collective pressure, acceptance, even encouragement. This is your time to be free. This conjunction is also falling in gate 25, line 3. The integrity and illusions about being spiritual, about the strictness that comes with that line. We are inducted into pure sincerity. Line 3 is all about mutation through experience. We integrate wisdom through confrontation and friction. Only through movement do we evolve, by demanding responsibility for how this innocence of the heart should be expressed. Neptune amplifies this longing for unity and transcendence. Therefore, the meeting asks, can love be embodied without bypassing reality? But before that, we will have the new moon in Aquarius, 28 degrees on February 17th. Even more, it is a solar eclipse. This is going to be quite eruptive because it is also squaring the ruler of the new moon, which is at the last degrees of Taurus. So anything that seemed to be stable, valuable, that includes resources, talents, money, a way of living, could be tipping one side or the other while the collective is making choices about whether this ship is going to go on, or is it going to sink, or is it going to arrive at the shore? Eclipses accelerate karmic timelines, revealing where attachment to security has limited growth and where the soul is ready to liberate itself from outdated structures in order to align with a more authentic frequency. A beautiful detail is Venus in Pisces conjunct the North Node at 9 degrees of Pisces. From an evolutionary perspective, this speaks directly to the soul's desire for relational truth and value rooted in spiritual integrity. Can you remember what was happening in your life around the same dates in 2007? This eclipse is a higher octave of what you were working on then. The houses where the end of Aquarius and at the end of Taurus fall in your chart will be activated. And now Venus with the North Node refines the path forward through conscious choice. These eclipses are leading us into shore as a corrective movement of consciousness, guiding the collective and the individual toward alignment. Be sure to keep a clean connection to your higher self, to your soul, to your gods, to your frequency. As my body recovered recently, it spoke clearly. It said, "Thank you, but no thank you. You don't need to carry what's no longer relevant." I listened and I set myself free. Where am I showing up and how? I'm writing from my heart. I know many people are writing about astrology and all the changes. All I have to say right now is this. If you've been doing your work, you've been following your path, you've been listening to your needs, and you have evaluated those needs in a very subjective way, you do not need any more guidance because you're already acting, already contributing, and already at the beginning of a new era. I speak to you, dear reader/listener, who has asked me to become a mirror for you through human design and evolutionary astrology charts. When I do these readings, I simply show you who you are. You already know those beautiful qualities you have. I'm here reflecting, that's all. I'm very grateful and honored to have been able to support so many people in the last years. It is an incredible challenge/talent I hold, one of many. I'm grateful that I'm not only cultivating my own path, but I also become of service through it. Evolutionary astrology has supported me through the darkest nights of my soul. When I recognized its value, I asked myself, how do I do this? How can I support others when they find themselves in those corners of life where decisions must be taken bravely and courage needs to be enacted? Since 2017, I haven't looked back. With care and responsibility, I attract the souls that resonate with my own at the moment of the reading. Below, I'll leave a list of testimonials I've received in this recent weeks. They warm my heart. I don't share them for praise, but as a simple testimony that I may be doing something right. When I create art, the energy is similar, though focused differently. The energy moves towards a larger community, towards a building, a place, a collective with specific needs. I listen, then translate those needs into color, shape, form, harmony, and beauty, creating balance and spaces of presence. This is another talent that has been part of my life. It wasn't given for free, and it wasn't something I studied formally. It's something I practice, something I refine through deep listening and love for my clients from a place of truth and warmth. I'm humbled by it. I'm humbled that even now in 2026, after stepping outside of the matrix, I'm still being hired and called to be of service in this way. It gives me freedom. It gives me time to study subjects that are dear to my heart. This space where I write and share is something I hold with care. It's a commitment I made to myself. I thank each one of you who listens and reads, even if it's only once in a while. It genuinely makes me happy. Returning to the astrology of this week, the energies are potent. January carried a Capricorn stellium, followed by an Aquarius stellium, and soon the planets will move through Pisces, then Aries, and onward. Eclipses are activating changes. Everything that is initiating and emerging supports those who have had the courage to leave behind what no longer shapes them. I also want to share that I pre-recorded all the sessions of my first Bitcoin. It's an open source program I adapted with my own graphics, my own voice, and my own scripts. You can study Bitcoin at your own pace through these recordings. I offer this in two ways: self-study through the recordings alone, or a deeper option with guidance, answers, and technical support for onboarding and understanding the systems more fully. Bitcoin self-study sessions. Based on Mi Primer Bitcoin open source curriculum, I have crafted 12 hours of pre-recorded modules that move from the history of money and fiat systems into Bitcoin's foundations, how the network works, and the practical steps to buy, store, and secure Bitcoin through self-custody. Link below. Evolutionary astrology self-study sessions. I'm also offering evolutionary astrology for beginners as pre-recorded material, with the option for private sessions where we integrate and deepen the work together. The course consists of 8 pre-recorded sessions based on foundational evolutionary astrology. An extended option is available, which includes 8 hours of private integration sessions. There is an additional module of 4 pre-recorded sessions I call value audits, where your chart is translated into concrete structure that looks like a choreography. Based on your chart, decisions can lead to needs that are essential, thus embodying value and foundational responsibility. I'm also available privately for integration sessions. For this module, it is advisable to have studied the basic course or to have had a reading with me recently. This module will be available mid-March. I'm offering this now because it feels like the right moment to share what I do with care, clarity, and love in a way that supports real understanding, embodiment, and responsibility of your own evolution. Last thought. I'm trusting my creative joy, my muses. When I'm aligned, my nervous system knows. And when it knows, all things manifest abundantly and beautifully. So much joy. Testimonials. Thank you, Monica, for being a channel, a lighthouse, and a rememberer of sacred destinies. Your work is light in the form of words and truth in the form of guidance. The universe moves through you with beauty, and I remain grateful always. Another testimonial. I cannot properly express what a positive and uplifting experience this was. Monica is a gentle, caring, and beautiful soul that makes you feel comfortable immediately. She was able to truly help me learn about myself, where I was at, where I should be going, including some of the why, and frankly, confirmed many things I already knew in my gut, but needed to hear. Next, Happy New Year, and thank you once again for my reading. You have no idea how instrumental that has been for me. I will have some big life updates to share with you very soon. You will not believe how the universe has been speaking to me since our session. Wishing you a great 2026 and talk to you soon. Next, Monica has a rare gift for reading charts, explaining them in a way that brings real clarity. She helps you see patterns and blind spots without judgment, making what once felt confusing feel obvious and actionable. She meets you exactly where you are, clearly reflects what you're ready to shift. Time with Monica leaves you with a stronger understanding of yourself and clear direction for what comes next. Another one. Over the course of more than a decade, I have had 2 readings with Monica, both at moments of personal and professional crossroads. In each case, the experience functioned as a recalibration of perspective. This came from clarity, proportion, and honesty. Monica has a rare ability to turn symbolic material into a coherent navigational map. Next, sessions with Monica offer a new perspective compared to other readings I've had with others. This is partially due to the collaborative nature of the hour. Monica is non-judgmental and holds space for self-inquiry through thoughtful questions using astrological energies and the chart to bring into awareness what it is in the field and what is to come. I had 2 readings with Monica. Every time was an opportunity to know myself better, to understand why I operate the way I do, to get more intimate with my gifts and callings, and to decipher the relationships and challenges in my life. It's incredible how accurate the charts are and how Monica interprets them and explains things clearly in a way that sheds light on possible actions and trajectories. I'm a fan and I will do it again in the future. It's a great calibration tool, which I highly recommend. Next, as a student of astrology, I made a point to receive astrology readings from those astrologers whose voice resonates with me. The intention is to learn by listening to their approach and perspective of what they see. Monica was very generous with her time, knowledge, and personal insights. Often she articulated connections for me that had not quite landed before. Her advice for how to use my chart and significant transits was very grounded and practical. Michelle. Monica provided me with heart opening clarity about my path and important upcoming rite of passage and affirmed the natural evolution of my inner world with precision. She weaved together deeper insights about who I am and where I'm going. Joel. Having my first professional astrological reading with Monica Bravo was truly eye opening. From the moment we began, I was struck by the depth of her insight and the accuracy with which she described my personality, life themes, and patterns. Monica has an incredible intuitive gift. She picked up on details about my experiences and tendencies that even I hadn't fully recognized before. Her empathetic nature made the entire experience feel both enlightening and deeply personal. I left the session feeling seen, inspired, and amazed by the clarity she brought to so many areas of my life. Another one. I was always skeptical of my astrological chart being read. However, I needed have worried. Monica provided a safe space, was present, and the session flowed as if we were in a conversation between all friends. I now realize I was ready for this, and the experience has provided me with clarity, direction, and responsibility of what I'm here to do in life. I am more at peace and understand more so why life happens for me and not to me. True value. Thank you, Monica. Another one. I recently asked Monica to do a reading for me, and the results are incredible. My chart reveals some puzzle pieces that Monica coherently weaved. My exchange with her has greatly guided me in the direction of my next steps. I am still working with the material as the reading is ongoing. If you're interested in revealing more of yourself to yourself, I highly recommend a reading with Monica. She's professional, concise, heart-based, and genuine. Monica has a way of attuning to her client and their chart that ensures that they are receive the core of what it is important for that person and in perfect timing. Last one. I had a fabulous human design and astrology reading by Monica. I came away with clarity, practical tips, and new ideas for where to spend my energy in the coming months. It was also incredibly helpful to hear Monica's personal stories as a fellow manifestor. What a gift, Michelle. I'm going to do one about Bitcoin studies. Taking Monica's Bitcoin course was turning point in my relationship with crypto. I already owned several cryptocurrencies and I was no longer a beginner. I knew how to use exchanges like Coinbase and I followed the market closely. What I lacked was a clear mental framework for understanding money, risk, sovereignty, and long term value. Monica's course provided exactly that. The content of the workshop does not focus on price predictions, hype, or the idea of the next big thing. What it offers is a deep, structured introduction to money itself, to its history, its failures, and the reason why Bitcoin exists as a response. By the time Bitcoin is introduced, you understand why it matters, not just what it is. What resulted for me was a concrete and immediate understanding. I exited all my non-Bitcoin positions, selling my XRP and Ethereum, and I left all centralized exchanges. I moved my funds into Bitcoin and took custody through a cold wallet. This was an incredible shift that came from understanding. Monica, with her ability to explain complex ideas with clarity, patience, and intellectual honesty. She facilitates how to think rather than what to think. Concepts such as fiat money, inflation, scarcity, time preference, self custody, and financial sovereignty are explained in a way that it is accessible, rigorous, and empowering. This course has a significant value for someone who is new to Bitcoin and wants a serious and grounded entry point, as well for those who are already involved but feel overwhelmed, confused, or unconvinced. Anyone who takes time, this course will come away with more clarity, a stronger sense of responsibility, and a much healthier relationship with money. I highly recommend it, Lucho. Well, this is it. I'm going to leave you some other stuff for you to look at below. But anyway, have a great eclipse.